A very good evening to you and welcome to the news. I'm Ebere. We're going in the headlines tonight. State government seeks more support from the traditional institution to drive community development. Health Ministry moves to train morticians to curb spread of communicable diseases. Religious bodies to commence payment of security levies in Oyo State. And on the foreign scene tonight, Russia says it plans to deploy missiles to the tension-filled Crimea Peninsula. And now details of the news. The state government has recognized two more traditional rulers. Governor Willie Obiano issued certificates of recognition to the traditional ruler of Utsu in Nnewi South local government area, Igwe Peter Ilomwanya and Igwe Godson Onyederi of Lilu in Ihiala Kentil area. Government House correspondent Eji Kabana has details.
Presenting the certificates, Governor Obiano reiterated the place of peace in community development while urging the traditional rulers to promote peace in their various communities. The governor, who stressed that his administration has remained development-oriented, called on them to pay more attention to developing their communities, especially by supporting the Community Choose Your Project initiative, urging them to ensure harmonious working relationships with their presidents general.
I wanted to bring together all the people of let peace be the guiding principle in what you're doing. You must be fair and just. Don't forget that as I give the certificate, I can also withdraw the certificate. So you must do what is necessary in your area. The government of Anambra State is very particular about the 40 million per community project that we have done for the 179 communities. Please, as you ascend this throne, make sure you work very well with your PG to oversight those structures and infrastructure that we are putting in your community. I want you also to make sure that you support us as the party that is giving you this certificate, so that Amaya Chapogacha na Lilu.
The Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Chief Greg Obi, while thanking the state government for efforts made to actualize the recognition and the enthronement of the traditional rulers, thereby promoting development in all areas, said that it was easy for the people of Otu to select a new leadership which is mainly hereditary, and clarified that Lilu had been operating on warrant chief system before now.
And Azo, Your Excellency, and we are here today. I'm happy that now Utu finally has Igwe without problem, and Lilu is making history. Your Excellency, I think I'll leave it at this point. It's a happy day, it's a happy occasion.
Speaking on behalf of the new traditional rulers, the chairman, Anambra South Council of Traditional Rulers and traditional ruler of Orifite, Igwe Dan Udoji, who was grateful to the state government for recognizing the new monarchs, said it will bring even development. In Jesus' name we pray. The traditional ruler of Oka, Obi Gibson Nwosu, presidents general of the two communities, members of cabinets of the communities, members of the state executive, and top party leaders witnessed the ceremony. From the Governor's Lodge, Amobia, Ejike Abana, ABS News.
Governor Willie Obiano has bagged the chieftaincy title of Agune Chamber, Oka North. The title was conferred on the governor by the traditional rulers of the 10 communities making up Oka North local government area. Equiajide was there and now reports.
The governor's wife, Chief Mrs. Ebele Chukwu Obiano, alongside her husband, got the title Akwaugo Oka North. The occasion marked the 27th anniversary of existence of the council area at the council's headquarters, Achala. Conferring the titles on the governor and his wife, the traditional rulers said it is in recognition of their achievements in various sectors of the state economy. The traditional rulers, through the traditional ruler of Ebenebe, Igwe Chris Nnegbunam, had earlier charged political leaders to be alive to their responsibilities while praying for a violence-free election in 2019. Responding, the governor, represented by the Senior Special Assistant on Security, Chief James Nwafo, applauded the increasing development in the area, promising that his administration will not relent in its strive towards good governance. On her part, the governor's wife, Chief Mrs. Obiano, represented by Barrister Vera Okonkwo, said the title has shown that Anambra appreciates her humanitarian services, assuring that she will strive harder to cater for the less privileged.
I don't know what that is because what she does is more than what a normal human being can do.
Earlier in his welcome address, the local government chairman, Mr. Ferdinand Onwuje, said he was motivated into recognizing those who contributed to making the council what it is today to inspire others to contribute their quota. According to him, Awka North has grown from strength to strength with favorable socioeconomic indices in almost all sectors of the economy.
Indeed, our local government headquarters, which used to be isolated, lonely, and stunting, is now a belief of source in all normal working days.
The chairman on the occasion, Chief John Arinze, said the program has brought peace and unity of purpose among citizens of the council area and thanked the organizers of the event. Some award recipients, including our former chairman of the council, Comrade Chike Obuekwe, the rector, Anambra State Polytechnic, Dr. Mrs. Nneka Mefo, and Prince Chidubem Okoye, said the award will spur them to do more in their different fields of endeavor. The event also featured cultural displays, conferment of titles of Ebubedike on the Vice-Chancellor, UNIZIC, Professor Joseph Ahaneku, and Chinemeze on the local government chairman, Mr. Onwuje, as well as unveiling of the Justice Nwokedi Hall. Ekwi Ajide, ABS News.
The Anambra State Association of Morticians has been officially inaugurated. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joe Akabike, performed the ceremony at the end of a one-week retraining of the state's mortician held at the Ministry of Health Conference Room. Chibuzo Okoye filed in the report taken from our studios.
Inaugurating the body, Commissioner Akabike said that the exercise was first of its kind in the history of Nigeria and explained that the government thought it wise to form the body in order to train them on occupational health, as there are a lot of emerging diseases in the society today. Dr. Akabike noted that one of the ways to prevent communicable diseases is to train morticians who handle corpses on a daily basis, and explained that the training will help them to learn the ethics of the job, even as he said that the Obiano administration has introduced over 8 various health reforms for the good of Ndi Anambra.
I will have people that are supervisors so that they can go, and if they have received this thing and now somebody will come and ask them, was there anybody giving anything given to you? Okay? So we have instituted all the processes that making sure that when we give, make sure we reach the end user.
A professor of anatomy pathology and consultant forensic physician from Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Professor Igwebike Onyora, harped on the need for morticians to have absolute respect for the dead and equally know the rules and regulations guiding their job. The Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Hospital Supplies, Mrs. Oluchi Onyedikachi, was among those present at the event.
Widows have been charged to keep hope alive for their families by engaging themselves productively to be self-reliant. Governor Willie Obiano gave the charge during the second edition of the 2018 Anambra State Widows Summit held at Emmaus House, Awka. Correspondent Ogochukwu Keke reports.
While addressing the widows, Governor Obiano, represented by his special advisor on special duties and continuous voter registration, Dr. Mrs. Amaka Akudo, restated state government's commitment to alleviating the plight and sufferings of widows and other indigent citizens, stressing that his administration will continue to give hope to the hopeless, as well as give them equal recognition in the society.
Makana unjemetwaka na ndi okasinjo na society, the vulnerable widows and the less privileged. Unagani unabambo ifuna fasu de palofuma ekandi usifamna di pefa akaba ne change their lives. Improve their welfare.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS, Nzeuche Nwora, represented by the Head of Legal Services of the station, Barrister Juliet Amasatu, said the purpose of the initiative was to protect the rights of vulnerable women and children who have been intimidated and humiliated in their families and society, advising widows to hope and trust in God. Nzeuche Nwora called on government at all levels to consider the plight of widows in their policies and plans.
Widows, especially women who work on the
The Special Assistant to the Governor on Environment, Mr. Stanley Nkwoka, maintained that vulnerable women in the society should be treated with love and compassion, adding that all hands must be on deck in order to stop obnoxious practices against widows and canvass for the promotion of women's affairs. The founder of Diamond Hearts Foundation, Mr. Onyemuche Emeka, in his welcome address, said the initiative was set up to encourage poor widows, restore their hopes, and empower them for social transformation, listing transportation, empowerment, and education support for the children as some of the challenges facing the scheme, and appealed for government support and encouragement to achieve their goal.
It's to empower the welfare of the widows and the less privileged. When we talk about widows, we're talking about the poor widows, not just all the widows. But in our society, you can see widows that are up and doing, but we're talking about the poor ones, those ones that have nothing to eat, have nothing to feed their children with.
Representatives from Ministry of Children and Women Affairs and the academia were among people that graced the occasion, and awards were given to Governor Obiano, Mr. Nkwoka, and 5 others. The event featured lectures and exhibitions of some products. In Oka, Ogochukwu Okeke reports in ABS News.
Anambra Broadcasting Service will receive an award for media excellence on the 9th of next month. The award will be presented to the organization by IBOM, a socio-cultural, non-partisan independent body that promotes Igbo identity. Correspondent Daniel Ezigwe reports.
While giving further details of the award, which will take place at the Ojukwu Center, Owerri, Imo State, the leader of the group and primate of the Wisdom of Thirst and Deeper Senses of Life Ministries International, Bishop George Njoko, said that Anambra Broadcasting Service beat other broadcast outfits in the Southeast through its deeply rooted emphasis on the Igbo philosophy. Bishop Njoko maintained that the ABS stood gallantly in the limelight of media dominance across the geopolitical zone through its people-oriented programs that reflect both professionalism and strong cultural attachment. The prelate, who just concluded a 3-day prayer crusade in Oka, said that the spread of the gospel of Jesus Christ had become increasingly demanding and could only be achieved through robust evangelism. He urged Christians to always preach the gospel of truth and peace. On the 2019 general elections, Bishop Njoko urged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to discharge its duties in the interest of peace, truth, fairness, and equity.
You cannot achieve anything from violence. Let there be peaceful election. But before you can attain peace, you must do those things that are necessary.
In Oka, Daniel Ezigwe, reporting for ABS News.
Religious organizations had to pay annual security levy to the Oyo State government as part of efforts to strengthen the State Security Trust Fund for improved policing in the state. This revelation was contained in a frequently asked questions flyers distributed by the Oyo State Security Trust Fund obtained by newsmen in the state capital territory. According to its classification, medium, small manufacturing and service providers had to pay 100,000 naira, 80,000 naira and 60,000 naira in that order, while trading, agriculture and forestry, including solid minerals, were pegged at 80,000 naira, 50,000 naira and 30,000 naira respectively. Religious bodies and others were fixed for 60,000 naira, 40,000 naira and 20,000 naira respectively. And away from that, the federal government is to embark on massive enforcement of the use of the national identity number for public transaction by January 2019 in the country. The State Director, National Orientation Agency, NOA, Barrister Charles Waji, made the disclosure at a one-day sensitization campaign jointly organized by the agency and the State Directorate of the National Identity Management Commission on the benefits of the National Identity Card and the use of the national identity number held at the palace of the traditional ruler of Ndikelianwu in Orumba North local government area. The NOA director maintained that the program was organized for the people of the 16 communities in the local government area and advised people who have not registered and obtained their national identity number to do so immediately with their valid identification letters from their President General and other valid and acceptable forms of identification, while advising the people who have registered and obtained their national identity numbers to strive towards preserving and protecting the numbers. Barrister Nwaji told the people that they could also register their school-age children with their own national identity numbers, including newborn babies. He noted that the national identity number is a unique number which will be valid for life and stressed that with the NIMC number, public transactions could be seamless and hassles-free, saying that the state has ranked first in the NIN registration exercise in the Southeast. And on business news tonight, the Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Stock Exchange, Mr. Oscar Onyema, has stepped down as the President of the African Securities Exchanges Association. A statement released by the association said the Chief Executive Officer, Casablanca Stock Exchange, Mr. Karim Haji, was elected as the president, while Mr. Edo Amenombe was elected as the deputy president at its 22nd annual general meeting. The statement said Haji would take over the leadership of the association from Onyema after he had successfully served 2 terms as president of ASEA. It said other offices constituting the newly formed ASEA Executive Committee were the Chief Executive Officer, Nairobi Securities Exchange, Mr. Geoffrey Odundo, that of Johannesburg Stock Exchange, Ms. Nikki Newton, Egyptian Exchange Boss, Mr. Mohammed Saleh, CEO Botswana Stock Exchange, Mr. Tapelo Tisisho, and Douala Stock Exchange, Mr. Pere Ekule. Others include the Chief Executive Officer, Ghana Stock Exchange, Mr. Kofi Yamua, and Chief Executive Officer, Rwanda Stock Exchange, Mr. Pere Rambokumba. And the foreign scene, Russia has said it plans to deploy more of its advanced S-400 surface-to-air missile system to Crimea as tensions rose with Ukraine over Moscow's seizure of 3 Ukrainian Navy ships and their crews. Russia has steadily poured new military hardware into Crimea since it annexed it from Ukraine in 2014. Moscow's announcement about new missiles comes as it and Kyiv tries to pin the blame on each other for the confrontation on Sunday. Observations show a Russian Navy minesweeper ship, the Vice Admiral Zakharin, heading for the Sea of Azov, which is used by both Ukraine and Russia and is an area of growing tensions from the Black Sea. Ukraine introduced martial law in parts of the country after the seizure of its ships, saying it feared a possible Russian invasion. Russian news agency cited Vladimir Astafyev, a spokesman for Russia's southern military district, as saying that a new battalion of S-400 missiles would be delivered to Crimea soon and become operational by the end of the year. The deployment is likely to have been long planned, but the timing of the announcement appeared designed to send a message to Ukraine and the West that Russia is serious about defending what it regards as its own territory and waters. And on sports news tonight, holders Real Madrid and Cristiano Ronaldo's Juventus were among 7 teams to reach the last 16 of the Champions League yesterday, while Sergio Aguero's late equalizer at Lyon also sent Manchester City through. Bayern Munich thumped Benfica 5-1 to book their place and ease the pressure on coach Niko Kovac. Roma will also play in the knockout phase despite losing 2-0 to Real, while former European champions Ajax won 2-0 in a violent heat game against AEK Athens to book their last 16 ticket after riot police clashed with Dutch fans. Maureen Fellaini's 91st minute winner against Young Boys saw Manchester United squeak through after they had laboured against the Swiss at Old Trafford. Real and Roma secured their spots in the knockout stages even before the Spaniards' 2-0 victory in the Italian capital after Group G rival CSKA Moscow fell to a 2-1 defeat at home to Victoria Pleasant. Gareth Bale scored one and supplied the cross that led to another as Lucas Vazquez wrapped up a clinical 2-0 win at the Stadio Olimpico that was a world away from Real Madrid's 3-0 Liga defeat to Eibar at the weekend. And that's it on the news tonight. Remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging onto our website www.absradiotv.com. Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And just before we go tonight, a quick reminder of our top stories. State government has sought more support from the traditional institution to drive community development. Health Ministry moves to train morticians to curb spread of communicable diseases. Religious bodies are to commence payment of security levies in Oyo State. And the foreign scene we brought to you that Russia has said it plans to deploy missiles to the tension-filled Crimea Peninsula. And that's the size of our package tonight. Many thanks for joining the bulletin. I'm Ebere Ugunna.